Hello, welcome back to another episode of Yepboat. I'm your host Ben, as always, and today is a very juicy episode. A lot to talk about because, well, BlizzCon happened, a huge patch happened, so let's dive straight into it. We're gonna talk about the patch again. So I'm gonna follow up on my last video where I just rated everything and talked about the meta. And now we're gonna talk about the meta. I played a couple of games. I've been watching other people play games and taking feedback. So we will evaluate where the meta is heading compared to the previous one, where I think it will go into the future. I'm also gonna address Khadgar a final time, what they changed about it and whether or not I think that's the good fix or whether they should look at it more in the future. Gonna briefly touch Quilboars as well because they mentioned a new tribe coming in April and I have my thoughts about it. And then last but not least, BlizzCon, why I think it was a little bit of a letdown, why I expected more, and stuff like that. But I don't want to be a negative Nancy. I'll try and keep it constructive, like constructive criticism. But it's just, BlizzCon, I felt like we could have received more. And that's it. So before I head into that, I want to say a big thank you for all the support. Oh my god, English is hard today. We reached 2,000 subs, so I really appreciate you guys for that. 2,000 is a huge milestone, so thanks a lot. Your support means a lot. You already support me by just watching the videos, enjoying the content, leaving a like, which literally takes 1 second and is free. You can do that right now. Or subscribing and leaving a comment, stuff like that helps me out. I really appreciate it. But I'm also very excited to announce that I have memberships finally, and that's the main reason why I am making a switch probably from Twitch to YouTube. So I used to stream a lot on Twitch for 2 years by now, but recently I dabbled into streaming on YouTube, and I actually like it much more for multiple reasons. Main reason is memberships. So I quickly want to talk about that. So Twitch, basically what they have is a subscription system, so you can support the streamer, right? You pay €5 or $5, and Twitch takes half of that, and all you get in return are badges and emotes, right? While on YouTube, I have much more freedom. I can set the prices. I take 70%. And on top of that, I can provide much more to you guys than I ever would on Twitch. So if you choose to support me, I'm able to provide so much more in return. For just less than half of a Twitch subscription, so for €2, you'll be able to use my emotes not just in my streams, but also in YouTube comment section. So on videos of mine, you can use my emotes. How sick is that? All across I think it's all across YouTube, and sub badges. So you can support me that way. There's also Pogo, so that's Pogo Squad. Then I also have Pogo Gang, which is a level above that, where I can provide membership videos to you guys, so bonus content. These are basically tips that don't make it into the main videos because they're too small, or these are tips that I can't make into a full video, or things that just don't make it to the main channel. I'll just post that as membership only videos. If you guys want to level up your gameplay or learn more, or it's just see more content from me and support me, you can do it that way as well. And I can provide tier lists. So from this meta, I'll make a tier list somewhere this week. I'll post it for the members. So if you want to see stuff like that, that's a possibility. So yeah, that's all I had to say. Just so you know, memberships are up. I plan on using them a lot, and I'm really excited about it because it helps me provide more content as well. Okay, now that was my sellout moment. Let's move on to the video. First of all, I want to talk about the patch, right? So they buffed a lot and they did one nerf. At first, I was very skeptical about this, very scared, because if you buff a lot, that just means power creep increases. If you don't nerf the things that are or need to be addressed, then you just increase the power level. It's that simple. And then that means that things that don't get buffed fall behind even more. So bad heroes that don't get buffed just becomes a bigger gap to the good heroes. It's better to nerf OP things, so that way you bring the level down a bit, and bad heroes or weak stuff is more playable. So I was scared with the they did random buffs that I don't even understand, which I also talked about. So if you didn't see my latest patch video, I highly recommend you check it out, because I'll use some of those ideas from that video in here, so you know what I'm talking about. But they buffed like Yoho Ogre and Molten Rock, which make very little sense to me because those cards were already playable, they were strong, they like elementals were good, Molten Rock was okay, Yoho was already a premium 2-star unit, especially if you find a captain with it. So it made little sense. They also buffed Taunt Comp, and I felt like Taunt Comp was already a strong mid game, especially with spells going and with the meta probably slowing down. Taunt Comp was gonna be strong and playable. they made it even stronger, and oh boy, we'll talk about it in the meta section of the Yepboat episode, but it really did something impressive. But after all that, and after playing a couple of games, it seems like there's no major issues so far. Like, even though they have driven up the power level of the early game, and didn't address stuff like elementals in the late game, or double Khadgars, or Maiev or Rafam, stuff like that, it seems like the top end, so what used to be an issue in the previous meta, is kind of balanced out by them buffing the early game. So the stuff that was broken is now kept in check by the tempo that appears earlier on, because you can't go for the broken stuff that often anymore. But again, the power creep just improved though. So that means that whenever new things get introduced, they need to be much stronger than the things they introduced in the previous patch. It's just an ongoing theme. But yeah, the buffs, I don't really understand most of them. I guess they wanted, to, instead of nerf things, buff other things as a way to nerf them, if that makes sense. Also, I don't understand why they didn't nerf Jandis, why they didn't nerf heroes like Maiev or Omu. They're still in the game and they're still very broken. I've seen Jandises still spank lobbies. Maiev still gets units for 1 gold, which is too good, almost. And Omu can still power level relatively easy. Now, the Elise nerf was good. I'm happy with it. She's still playable. She's not as broken. So basically, all the predictions I did in the previous video so far line up pretty well. I think it's been my best prediction so far. There have been other prediction videos that I've done where I'm pretty far off, but so far I'm happy with the points I've given and with my the things I said. So that's good, at least. Let's talk about Khadgar now, because I think we addressed most of the things in the patch. Oh yeah, the bugs. Let's talk about that real quick. They addressed 2 bugs, but they didn't address major bugs that have been in the game since the beginning. I literally wanted to make a video talking about all the bugs in Hearthstone, but I didn't, because I expected them to fix it soon. Well, they didn't address any of the bugs yet. So, for example, the triple bug, where triples don't show up, has literally cost me games. There's been times where I wanted to level because I see my opponent just levels to tier 5, so I do it as well. He has 0 triples. I face him and he has 2 6-drops on the board. You got 2 triples that didn't show up, resulting in my death because of a bug. That's just stupid. Also, the reconnecting stuff where you can skip battle animations to have more time wasn't addressed, but I don't know how they're gonna address it. They've been very vague about it. They haven't given a proper solution yet, so I don't know if they're ever gonna fix it. It seems like they are not. They just might not be able to do it, so don't get your hopes up too much for that. You can still reconnect to get extra time using Firewall. I guess it's just part of the game now. Yeah, now Khadgar. So how they fixed Khadgar is, in case you don't know, Khadgar summons multiple tokens and those tokens triple. And what they did is they let the token animations happen first and then let the triples happen. Well, previously it went simultaneously. So while you summon tokens, it tripled and it kept on summoning and make more board space. Well, now it does the animations first, and then at the end of the animations, it triples. So it just fills the board, triples, and that's it. So if you have a golden Khadgar, golden brand, you play a token, you only get 1 triple because it summons and makes a triple. Well, previously it would summon, make a triple, summon, and so you get like 4 or 5 triples from 1 token. Now you only get 1. This doesn't affect stuff like reborn units during the battle phase, or death rattle units, or Scallywag, Exodia. So I'm still a bit scared because all of those things are still possible. Scam builds are possible. It also works with splitting image. Like with Boat, it can do some nasty things, and Scallywag Exodia is still really strong. But because of what happens in the meta, and because of the buffs they did and the tempo, it just seems like you can't really go for stuff like that anymore. I haven't seen a single Scallywag build because you need Elizas on tier 6, Barons on tier 5. People stay down on 4 longer and get much stronger, so you can't really set up for it, which is probably a reason why Khadgar sees less play. Then you can still get triples with Khadgar, only just 1 triple a token. So I think the major issue, or the only issue that Khadgar still has, is with Jandis. Or because if you find 2 Khadgars, you can with Jandis just play a token, bounce it back, play a token. If you roll another token, that's 3 triples in 1 turn, and you don't even lose out on major economy because you can bounce it back and sell stuff and stuff like that. So with 2 Khadgars, you can still get a couple triples in a turn. But just because of how tempo-based the meta is right now, you can't really do that. So Khadgar is fine. I think the the nerf is fine. Everything seems balanced so far. Everything seems good, like they fixed it. I'm just scared that in the future, if things slow down or in a new patch things change, Khadgar might pop up to become an issue again because of the interactions that are still in the game. But so far, I think it's alright. You don't have to worry about it. Now, before we talk about the meta, I want to talk quickly about Quilboars. So, new tribe that they mentioned at BlizzCon. The thing is, they just mentioned it. Less than a minute they talked about Quilboars. They just said, yeah, Quilboars are coming in April. That's it. They did say that they use their own resources in a fun way, and they're very like something they haven't done before. Now, I've been brainstorming because basically in Hearthstone, every tribe has a way to scale, an original way to scale, because otherwise you just can't do anything with it. Or they have original interactions. Let's say mechs, they don't really scale. You get to attack very high with leapers. You have sensei, so they have a lot of early buffs. They have divine shields mainly with deflectables, with modules. So they're a divine shield heavy build that uses resets and scaling with jungle. Like maybe a brand is how you scale it, and scavengers and stuff like that. But mainly it's more of a tempo based build. If you look at elementals, they buff each other. You buy this elemental, it buffs that elemental. So elementals chain off each other in the late game. Dragons, you just need battle cries with Caligos to buff it up, and you find Nadina for shields. They all have a different way to scale up. Like Menagerie wants Brand and Lightfang, and you pick specific buffs, find specific units or units that you want to build your Menagerie around. Demons, they just have Wrath Reaver right now to scale. They're mainly a tempo build as well, with like a Juggler that deals damage. So my main point is, I've been trying to come up with an original thing to scale a board, but I'm not really able to. Whatever I've been thinking of is just like a spin of something else. Like whatever scaling I had in mind was just basically a Caligos, or basically a Lil Rag or a Bran, or it's really hard to come up with an original way to still scale in Battlegrounds, because in Hearthstone there's only so many ways that you can improve the stats of cards, right, in a unique way. And they said that so far they're doing something they haven't seen before. So it's also Quilboar is a tribe specific to Battlegrounds, so they can do a lot of interesting stuff that we've never seen before with keywords or whatever that is Battleground specific, that hasn't ever been featured in standard Hearthstone. So in that way they have a lot of freedom, but I honestly have trouble seeing how they can introduce a tribe so original and scales in a very unique way. But that's where this discussion comes in, right? So if you guys have an idea of what this new tribe could be, or have fun ideas on how to scale, please leave it down below. I'd love to read it, because myself am pretty clueless about how I would go about designing a new tribe, because they did so much already. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm a bad designer. So hopefully you guys are more creative than me. But yeah, let me know down below what you think Quilboars will be. I think it's an interesting topic to talk about, and I'll be very hyped to see what they do in April. I'm really hyped about them, mainly because of the surprise, because I literally don't know what to expect. Okay, that was Quilboars in a nutshell. Let's talk about the meta, and this is probably the most fun topic in the video, because it really did a 180. Like, holy shit, what happened? Things went south so quickly, from being a greediest meta ever, where people just get double calling on turn 8, to people dying on turn 8, to some stupid Arm of Empires. So I played I played a couple hours already, and from my experience, basically this is what my experience was. I tried heroes like Maleficent and Mukla, because Mukla got a buff, like shitty heroes that I would never take. I don't know what I was doing, but I got second place, easy peasy in those games. Almost got first place, but I got scammed in one of them. So I don't know what that means. Basically, with Maleficent, I just got spanked early because I didn't find max, and I found the Flecto, and I stayed down on tier 3, eventually went to tier 4, stayed on tier 4, and I just tried to be strong. And sometimes I just rolled 10 gold in a turn and did nothing, because I didn't roll any max. I was looking for modules, deflectables like menaces, sometimes picked up a leaper. I had one Iron Sensei to buff my board. I never found a brand, by the way. I had no major scaling, no domos or whatever in that board, so I didn't really scale that much, but I just killed people left and right. And then in the final game, I almost beat Areno. So he took first lobby, but I think I got scammed. and he had a golden light fang and a normal light fang for super long. So this guy was scaling up a board with golden light fang, normal light fang. He also had like 2 Amalgadons, and it was close because I don't know why. I guess tempo is just much better. Also with Mukla, I just pressed my hero power, picked bananas, but like I had 2 Bolvars, 2 Bronze Wardens. I had a bunch of garbage as well, and I just spanked people with it. Also, taunt comp is insane. So what I said, in the previous video, most of the things that I predicted are accurate. One of the things I predicted is that Armor of Empire is gonna be nuts, and I think I was pretty right. Like Armor, I've been seeing so many people with just deflectables, Armor of Empires, Kirajis, random taunts, like the Acolyte of Cthulhu is now super strong, the 1-star unit, just because of all the synergies. It is incredibly weird to see, but I think it's fun. So the meta is super fast. People die super early. Lobbies go to like maybe turn 12 or 13 and they're won. And I only lost to 1 Kaligos player. I think there was 1 person that beat me with a Kaligos. And besides that, I didn't see a single Kaligos or Dragons player. I think I saw like 1 or 2 Beast players, but they also only got 3rd and 4th place. First places so far have always been won by some wacky menagerie taunt build. Like taunting cleaves is now also a legit strat. I saw a guy who taunted a Hydra with Arm of Empires to just bump up its attack, and then suddenly it's like you played 10 Leapers on the thing. Or I had a 4 Reaper, I put a module on it, I had a golden Arm of Empire. After a couple turns, it got like plus 20 attack. And I had to spend no gold. So no gold for plus 20 attack. That's like having a brand and having to play like so many Leapers and other buffs. So it's just the fact that you can scale attack so much without having to invest any gold is crazy. Now, a reason why I think the meta is so fast and aggressive right now is because a lot of people might have trouble adapting to it. So it's because of it. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know what's happening with my speech today, but because it went such 180 and it's such a different game almost than it was 1 week ago, people might not be as good as adapting to it very quickly. So what I mean by that is people still picked Elise in my lobbies. They didn't do well, but just because they played so much Elise and they felt comfortable with the hero, they take it. I haven't seen anyone else pick Maleficent or Mukla, but I did wonderful with them without even knowing what I did, honestly. I was just experimenting and forcing taunts, which worked magnificently. So people are stuck in the old mindset, and if things go south so quickly, you can't just snap your fingers and suddenly understand the meta. It takes a while to adapt, and people still got top 8 super frequently on tier 5 early. So people who power leveled and were still in the same mindset from previous meta, I gotta go to tier 5, I gotta find colleagues, stuff like that, they just died. So maybe it's just the fact that people are still messing around in this meta and are still figuring things out, which makes it so fast, because the people that do play taunts and max will just stomp on those that are still lagging behind on what used to be the way that you play Battlegrounds. So I think that's what's going on right now. People are just having trouble adapting. In a week, I think it will stabilize. So it's super aggressive now. I think it will still be a tempo-based meta just because they buffed tempo so much. They should not have done that, because then I think we would have been in a good meta. But yeah, it's going to still be a tempo meta, but it's going to be less aggressive because the people that are super greedy will learn to slow down. They will learn to pick more tempo stuff, and then we will see a lobby that's equal in power level, no one that like dies early, and then people might be able to level up and still go for Kalag and Little Rag and stuff like that. So major scaling will become prevalent again. So people will still take it and use it, but less. So I'm actually happy with this meta. I know a lot of people have been complaining about, I don't understand it, I'm taking so much damage, it's so bullshit. But I like it because it takes me back to when I played Hearthstone Battlegrounds like half a year ago, or maybe even a year ago, when people had junk bots. Like, junk bot is actually good now, like what the fuck. And when everyone had deflector bots, when everyone has tempo stuff and stays down in tier 3 and 4, because everyone just stayed on tier 4, sometimes level to tier 5, no one ever really went to tier 6. You tripled into 5s and you just picked mechs and divine shields. That was the meta, and it's the meta again, and it feels so good. But yeah, I think every lobby yesterday was won by taunts, pretty much. Taunt comp, which is just crazy to think about. Also, poison is less, like, there's less poison now because everything has divine shields or summons new stuff, and everything gets constantly buffed. So That's why maybe Almagedons are, like, I've seen no Almagedons. Only the Reno that I played had Almagedons because he had a golden light thing he could level up. But yeah, people don't have time anymore to just level to tier 6 and look for what is literally the best unit in the game, a Poison Divine Shield unit that gets every single buff. People don't have time for that anymore. If they try that, they die. So it's very interesting. Basically, in a week from now, or in 2 weeks from now, I'll do another Yepboat, talk about how the meta has evolved. But so far, my predictions have been right. I also have a lot of people come in my streams and ask me about meta. Like, if you want to discuss stuff, you join in the streams or talk below. Like, there's a comment section for a reason, because there's just so much to say. But yeah, I can't answer every single specific question. So if you have a question that you want answered, just ask it below. Or if you have something to share because maybe you played more games or you played different games, or you have discovered something that I have not yet. Like, for example, a guy talked about how Katoon with dragons is pretty good with the buffed Wax Rider Togwaggle, which I call a she accidentally, but it's a he, of course. In the previous video, like, if you pick Katoon, you can now just take the Wax Rider because it's a 1/3. It's a little bit better if you buff it with your hero power, and then if you just buff dragons in early game like Whelps or Bronzeworn or Hanger Dragon, the thing gets huge. Like, Wax Rider gets huge, and he won a couple lobbies with that apparently. So maybe that's a hidden strat now in this meta. But yeah, I think that's most of what I had to say about the meta, because the meta is a lot to talk about. I think it's really interesting. I just like the fact that it made such a big flip. Usually it's just like small things, like this unit suddenly becomes good, this becomes bad. Now all the good units turn bad, all the good heroes turn, or most good heroes turn bad, because of course Maiev, Rafam, they're still gonna be strong, but bad heroes are not playable. Fucking Mukla. It's insane. So I think it's a lot of fun. And I'm definitely gonna mess around a lot more with it. Let's talk about BlizzCon, final topic of this podcast. So the reason why I felt let down this BlizzCon is because if you compared Hearthstone to all the other things, like Diablo got huge stuff announced, World of Warcraft was super hype, and then Hearthstone, most of the things they announced we already knew, like a core set, a classic set. I don't know what other, like the new game mode. We knew we were getting a new game mode. They got. Oh, can I talk? The new game mode got revealed, and it's basically Slay the Spire. I don't want to go too in depth into what I think of the game mode because I think it's too early to say, but I feel like it's going to be Duels 2.0 because it looks cool, but it's mostly PvE. They said there's going to be PvP included as well, which is going to be higher skill, like less RNG, something along those lines. But still, if you look at Duels also is just pure PvP, and in the new game mode, you like follow a path. If you never play Slay the Spire, basically you choose a path, you do battles, you get rewards. So you just have a deck that upgrades, you have heroes that upgrade. That just sounds like a solo adventure, right? Every adventure you upgrade your deck, or even in Duels, you upgrade your deck and get new rewards. So I don't see how it's that different, honestly. I guess we'll have to wait and see, but so far it just seems like a fun casual mode. I'll play it. It will definitely do well and be received well, but it's not going to overtake Battlegrounds. It's not a Battlegrounds 2.0 because it just doesn't have that catch to it. Auto battlers are just much more famous on, for example, streaming sites like Twitch. Nothing can overtake Battlegrounds. Like if you look at Duels, for example, or yeah. And also, they didn't talk about Arena. I feel really bad for the Arena people. I'm sorry, guys. I wish they did stuff for Arena, because I actually think the mode is fun. I have played it from time to time, and I know a lot of Arena folks, and I wish they put more time and effort into it. And another reason why I'm disappointed is, okay, first of all, let's talk about the standard stuff before I move on, but they only reveal like new cards, right, for the core set and stuff like that. And besides that, they basically repeated what they revealed a week ago. So we knew we were getting this and that and that. They basically repeated all of that and just showed a couple new things like cards. Basically, the BlizzCon felt like a huge patch note. The main thing is the new game mode. And for Battlegrounds, yeah, they literally didn't share anything except for Quilboars for 1 minute. Like 1 minute, yeah, you're getting a new tribe. I'll see you in April. We'll have to wait more than a month in order before we know anything else. Yes, I don't think that sentence was correct, but basically we just have to wait for new stuff to be revealed in a couple months. They just hinted at some things, and and that's it. And then they just said, yeah, there's a patch note. A patch note is good. I'm happy with the patch, but it's also not a big patch. There's no new heroes introduced. They only took away heroes, took away units. They only buffed a couple things. Like, we didn't get much new. Also, they talked like 5 minutes about Battlegrounds compared to the entire segment. Battlegrounds is probably by far the biggest mode. I think it is bigger than Standard. At least it is on YouTube and Twitch. It is everywhere. Maybe not YouTube. I know it's biggest on Twitch for sure. So I don't understand why they put the least amount of time into Battlegrounds. Of course, Arena and Wild are very represented in the BlizzCon show, but yeah, they didn't put much time into BG. They put more time into the big Year of the Griffin for Standard, right? Which I don't really get. So also apparently the keywords are, like, I don't care too much about the standard stuff, but apparently the keywords are just recycled. Like, one of them is basically enrage. Whenever something takes damage, something happens, which is an old keyword. The spells apparently upgrade. That has been done before, where spells upgrade every turn, or like Omega cards where something upgrades at 10 mana. So yeah, apparently things aren't super new, but it's still new expansion. It's still exciting for people, I guess. There was something else I had to say, but I forgot about it. It was about Battlegrounds. Shit, yeah, I don't remember. I'll just leave it in the comments, sure. I think that's everything I had to say. We addressed the patch, we addressed the meta, we addressed Khadgar, the new tribe, and we talked about BlizzCon. Alright, I'll leave it at this. Thank you guys for watching. I know it's not really a longer episode. No, it's about effort. It's fine. Consider subscribing if you're new and liking the video. Of course, you can also become a member if you want to support me more and get more content from me and level up your gameplay. That's it. Also, I'm sponsored by Power Play Rewards. Check out the link in the description if you want to earn some money playing games. It's pretty pog. Have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.